Welcome into the Common Dad Podcast Father's Day edition, the third one, I believe, of which just a bourbon edition, which I just learned right before that apparently Father's Day is always on a Sunday.
Every year.
And that you were, is it also true for Mother's Day, or am I just dumb?
That does apply for Mother's Day, Easter
as well. Okay. There's a little, that's our first tip right there. It's always on the Sunday. So, but it's not your job to remember.
You have
Father's
a 1
Day.
in 52 chance of getting Mother's Day right.
I would even, you could dumb that down a little bit even, because there's other holidays on Sundays. Like, you're sure Mother's Day isn't on Easter. You should be. 51.
Shouldn't
right
be.
There. Shouldn't be.
And it's probably not on Father's Day. So
Yeah. Yeah. So our very first episode was we aired that bad boy on Father's Day, and we did Best Dad's Bracket. Who won that? Best Dad.
Phil, was this the one
was
with
it Uncle Phil?
the best TV show personality dads?
Yeah.
Had to have been.
I think
Phil
it was
Banks.
Phil
Is
Banks.
there any dad that's better than Phil Banks?
No. I mean, we proved it. It's now factual. It's no longer opinion.
Maybe Clark Griswold.
I think he was in the conversation,
neglecting his children to gamble in Vegas, and
he's a good dad. He's strong, but he did gamble away everything they ever owned and almost lost his wife to Wayne Newton. Other than that, it's fine. And then last year we did Worst Dads. And if you haven't listened to these episodes, go back and do it. But if you're listening now, you're an incredible fan. Of course you have. And we did Worst Dads last year. Somebody from Game of Thrones win that?
Probably. Baratheon? No, not Baratheon.
I think
Lannister
it was Stannis.
dad, maybe. Oh, Stannis?
One of the two. Feels like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would track sacrificing his own child. Not even for a good thing, just so that he could be king. Just like, I want to be king, and you just have to sacrifice your child, burning them at a stake.
And it didn't even work. Didn't even work.
Well, naturally.
Yeah, which I don't know if that would have, if it did work, would we have been like, but it worked? I don't think it would have changed. At least I hope not. I want to say Stannis won that horrible off.
Possibly. Go back and listen to it and tell us how we're wrong.
Yeah, we're not going to listen to it, but you do it. You people do it.
You guys have more time. I
really think,
because we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, we're working. We're entertaining you. You go back and do it. We're doing stuff. So before we get into what the actual topic is, you took the whole family to Vegas this past week, right?
No,
not the family.
I went alone.
Okay, even better.
Work. Yeah, it was very long days of work. Meetings.
Vegas overrated or underrated?
Overrated, 100%.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've always thought it might be.
100%. If you enjoy gambling, then okay, sure.
Right.
But that's about it. Everything else overrated.
Yeah. It
like,
seems
it's cool
pretty,
to walk up and down the strip and see everything that's there. It's cool to go to a couple of the different bars and things like that. Certainly all the different casinos, seeing some of the different, the fountain at the Bellagio and whatnot. There's certainly some sightseeing, but you could do it in a day and you're done. The restaurants, okay, maybe 2 or 3 days worth of, I want to try this restaurant, I want to go to that bar, I want to do this thing. And then you're kind of like, okay,
seen it.
The whole place is just walking up and down the strip. It's not a pleasurable experience. It's, and then the casinos, it's just insanely loud and bright lights, and
that's what I was going to say.
It's not my idea of a great, relaxing vacation.
Is it a place where everything is just over the top and overdone, everywhere you go?
Yeah.
I can't. I could do that, I think, for one night, maybe 2. But it seems like it would just be exhausting. And you said it stinks.
Oh, it smells.
Which
everywhere on the street smelled.
Have you?
So,
what did it smell like? Like vomit? Because I've been
maybe
to
a mixture of vomit and fecal matter.
Yeah. A bit of both. I went to, and we'll move on after we're done. It seems like we always work poo into these conversations, which is good.
Well,
I went to Bourbon Street one time, and it was strange. I actually went there during the daytime, and we weren't even there. Like, we were there for 12 hours. It was weird. But we were like, oh, let's just go see Bourbon Street. Like, it's a landmark, and we went there, and it's way smaller than what you think it would be as far as like width. It's like a single lane, maybe
way.
2 cars could get there. But so we were standing there at like, I don't know, 1 p.m. There's not a bar, nothing's open, nobody's around. And it just smelled like vomit and old beer. And we're outside. We're in the open air. And it smelled. They're scrubbing the streets with like bleach, and it didn't matter. I was like, right then and there, I told myself, I could never.
The one thing we did not do that I think I would have done if I was not there for work is see a show. They have a lot of different acts there that you could do, and I didn't see any of that. And so
are the Tiger Boys still doing their thing?
Are the who?
The Tiger Boys. That's not their name. That's what they messed around with the Tigers. One of them's got his face ripped off. They
got mauled by a tiger, and the show ended.
That'll do it. Do it or not?
I don't know actually, but it's
Siegfried
and Roy.
I think.
They have a statue out there, like on one of the street sides. It's just a giant them standing over a tiger or whatever. And
I don't think anybody's going to replicate that show. I think that's pretty much they're going to leave that right where it. It
seems like usually people try until somebody gets hurt, and then they're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't try this anymore.
Yeah, although I am surprised nobody's been like, I could do it. I could pull that off.
There is a lot of drunk people.
That
many of my colleagues included. Many of my colleagues included.
Well, you don't have work meetings in Vegas to just drink water and play Yahtzee. I'm gonna guess.
No, we spent obscene amounts of money on alcohol,
but none of your money,
none of my money,
which is key.
All reimbursable,
which is key.
So
all reimbursable. All right. Speaking of awful things, no, I'm just kidding. This has nothing to do with the episode. This is a Father's Day episode, so we're not doing a bracket this year. We are going to go into Dad's tool bag, and it could be an actual tool bag, but what we mean by that are like kind of tricks up Dad's sleeve. What our dads have had. A couple of mine are from what my dad had, but what we maybe have or discovered to have. So Dad's not hypothetical tool bag. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know what you're looking for there.
There you go.
There you go.
Metaphorical tool bag. Man, I'm dumb. Okay, Dad's metaphorical tool bag is what we're going here.
The first tool is to get a job that takes you to Vegas and allows you to expense everything.
Do that. That's if you can swing that, definitely do that. So the first one I had on my list, and this one that's not a hot button topic. I don't think it should be, but if you're sensitive, it might be. But I have the dad voice or the dad roar, if you will. And what I mean by that is in very select moments, because if you use it too much, now you're just bordering on a psychotic father. But
just screaming at your kids all the time.
Yeah, then you're just yelling all the time. But in moments where like, hey, I've got 3 kids and a wife, so like there's times where all 3 kids are acting up, and they're all they're just nipping at each other's heels, and I got to pull out the dad war, and you get that deep grumble. You say like, I've never said silence, but I think that would be pretty cool. Silence. But I usually just go with just something very loud and very just very loud, and it gets their attention immediately, and then I bring my volume right back down. But like I said, I can't use it too much, because if I do it too much, it loses the effect. It needs to be
protect the superpower.
That's right. That's right. It has to like charge up almost, because it's got to be just enough out of character to where they're like, oh, we've pushed Dad over the limit. You know what I mean? It's got to be that. That's what have you ever used the dad voice before? And does it work?
Oh, all the time. It gets everybody's attention. It gets
Yep.
everybody's attention almost immediately, and it's just you don't even have to yell. It's just a shift in your voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just
That's
like
good.
this tonal
Have you done it in
shift
public
your
before?
voice. I mean, yeah, like around other people, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always, and
Yeah,
that'll
usually
really get their
everybody
attention
goes like,
because it
"Oh,
feels-
snap, he pulled out the dad voice."
Oh, yeah. Yes. So that is a good one. But yeah, a tonal shift, definitely. So if you're a dad that is naturally like very like monotone and kind of quiet, the dad voice is quite easy, but don't use it too much.
So that's a great thing dads can use to calm things down, or at least to like shut things down. But I would also say
Yes. Yep.
dads tend to be very good at riling everybody up. Nobody riles the kids up
Absolutely.
with a little roughhousing right before bed like dad.
Yes. Yes.
You're all
Definitely.
sitting down, you eat dinner, maybe you watch a movie or something after dinner, and then all of a sudden dad and the kids are wrestling and it's, 5 minutes to bedtime. Mom's going, "Stop riling them up. They're supposed to be going to sleep."
There's got to be the tool in the bag that is, I don't know what we would call it, what you're describing, but it's just like a little bit of mischief, It's growing up, it was always cool to like do something with dad that we're not necessarily supposed to do, but we know we can do it because dad's the one that's bringing it up.
Egging us on.
It's his idea. So we're not going to get in trouble.
Exploring the area we're not supposed to be in, jumping the fence we're not supposed to jump.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are because you feel like as a kid, you're in on it. You're like, oh, we're doing this with dad. Like it's a level of excitement where you're doing something you're not necessarily supposed to do. Don't rob a bank, with your children. Probably not that, but stay up an hour later. Although that can backfire. Have you tried that experiment?
I mean, the one thing that I misunderstood before I was a dad is that I figured keeping the kids up late would mean that they would sleep in later. Like, oh, my kid sleeps, 10 hours, 11 hours a night. It's fine if they're up. They'll sleep in a little bit. They'll be fine. Tomorrow is Saturday. Like, what does it matter? And then all of a sudden it's like 6 a.m. and they're knocking on your bedroom door and it's like, "We want breakfast. Can I have this?" It's like, we went to bed at midnight. You should be asleep for another 4 hours.
And they're not even like, "Oh, I'm a little tired for," like, no, they're just, it's like nothing.
They're full
happens.
energy,
Like
but come noon,
18
know
hours.
that they did not sleep enough.
Yes, absolute terrors for sure. So that's one thing. Don't have, yeah. If you're gonna bust that tool out, don't do that. Don't do that.
Well,
definitely.
so you phrased it as like mischief, but I would phrase that as adventures. Dads like to go
There you
on
go.
adventures,
I like that.
and adventures a lot of times are late. They break some of the rules. Maybe you don't eat the food you're supposed to.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to go out hiking, and so you just take a bunch of junk food with you, and then you get back late. It's an adventure. Dads are all about adventures.
Today we busted out just before dinner time. Dad, can we have ice cream? No, we always have it after dinner. They asked me today. Yeah, screw it. Yeah, we'll have ice cream after dinner. Whatever. Wife wasn't home yet. We
That's
did
an
it. All right, you
adventure.
guys got to promise to eat. Yeah, you got to promise to eat your food. Okay, and they didn't, and then that's why you have the dad voice. And then they did eat their food. So it all worked. Yeah, maybe adventure is a better one to have there. I kind of have this one kind of plays off of that, and it's taking, I don't know what you would call this tool. This is a little wordy to call a single tool, but like taking a kid's idea to the next level. And this is another one, you can't do it all the time because if you do it, you're like setting the expectation. I don't know why I almost just like passed out when I said expectation. But I'll give you an example. So like when your kid's like, "Hey, can we make a fort?" 9 times out of 10, you're propping up a couch cushion, you're throwing a sheet over it, and it's like, yeah, you got
That's
a
all
fort,
you
whatever.
should be doing.
Usually, yes. But every now and then, freaking like go all like rearrange the living room, go get like some actual equipment that you need to like hang the sheets up, like put the iPad in there, like have different, like go all out with it. And that's just an example, but like taking one of their ideas and just like cranking that thing up. I remember I had a project in, I think it was elementary school, to make a musical instrument. And I was just going to make, I don't know what the instrument is where you have like 4 or 5 different just like pipes and they're all different lengths and you like, doo, 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 doo. I don't know what that is, but I was like, I'm going to tape together some plastic tubes, right? And my dad was like, nope. He got like, we got some copper, like piping from, I don't know, a job he was doing, and he freaking welded those things together. Like he made an actual instrument. And I came to school like, yeah, I did this. My teacher was like, well, you didn't do any of that. But
that goes back to, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
That's exactly right. Yes.
If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So,
yep.
Dads definitely have a knack at taking things probably a little bit, just a tit further than they probably should go.
Yeah, but it's so fun. It is. I would even say it's funner from the dad's perspective from when I was a kid.
Oh,
Wouldn't you agree?
Because you get a chance to do a cool project.
Yes.
And it's not like work. It's just for fun.
Have you had a chance to like dive in on a kid's project yet like that?
There's a few things we've done. I can't think of a specific example. We were gonna do a box car. What do they call them? The little weighted like cars. The little. It wasn't a push cart though. It was like the little ones. The Boy Scouts things. Do. We were going to do one of those at one point, and I was getting ready to get super hyped up and take it way farther than I should have. And then we ended up not doing it. So
you're going to put weights in the front like the dude from the Jamaican bobsled team. Cheat.
Of course.
The science fair. There you go. What are those cars called? That's going to drive me crazy. Let us know if you remember. What are those cars? I keep wanting to say box. Is it a box car?
No, I don't think it's box car.
Not a push cart. I don't know what it is. We'll move on and we'll remember after the episode. Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, it's a derby car race.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
Another thing I would say, like generically, I think the tool is that dads just have a way to figure things out. But as an example, I would say something like camping.
Okay.
You have a way to just go out into the middle of nowhere and figure all of this stuff out. Whether you're going full extreme and you're actually going to do like hunting and fishing and cook what you catch, or even if it's just we're going to take a couple of tents out and make a fire.
Right.
Dads just have a way to like make this stuff happen. That
dude,
we didn't do a ton of camping growing up. Like, and when we did, we had this little like tent, we had this pop-up trailer camper thing. So we didn't make tons of fires growing up. We didn't like, rough it camp all that much. But since being a dad, we have gone camping, and it's been more of a roughing it camping, and we've done the tents and the fires. And I've just figured out like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And oh, what if we do this? And all of a sudden we have like a 2 or a 3 day camping thing put together, and I just figured it out.
I think so. The figuring it out thing is good. I had down like improvising, like just the ability to improvise. But I also think like when you're doing something like that, and this may be cheating a little bit, but researching the crap out of whatever activity your kids think is brand new to you also.
It's a dad skill.
And then you do it, and now you're an expert at it. And they're like, oh, man.
That's still a skill.
I tell you, you said one thing that is very specific, making a fire. To this day, if I were to go out in my backyard with my dad and we're like, hey, let's make a fire, I could make a fire. I could do it. It would just, I would need newspaper. I would need a lighter. I would need more of those things. My dad just always and forever will be like, oh, fire. And then he's like a sorcerer and it's just there. And I watch him do it. And he's doing the same thing I'm doing. He's doing the same thing I'm doing. And it takes me 10 times as long. And I don't know. It's one of those things he's always been able to do that's way better than me.
One day,
and now that
the student will become the master.
maybe, or I just keep a blowtorch on me, and
Well, yes.
then we solve that problem. But we would do rough it camping all the time. Now he never got like Flint, like he was never doing that. But he was just
amateur.
like he could. This is what if I needed newspaper, like I need newspaper to make a fire. Like he could do it with just like sticks and a lighter, which is pretty. It's hard to do, like just a little Bic crappy lighter, right? But yeah, that is a good one. Just the ability to improvise and to take all those things up a notch. I have one that's shifting the idea a little bit away from exactly what Dad is doing with kids. And this is a shorter one that I don't think needs a lot of explanation, but it's realizing when Mom needs a break before she breaks. That can be useful and quite helpful in many ways. And I don't know how to tell you, listener, to look out for those signs because they're all probably quite different. But
so
figure
they're
that
good
out.
at reading their surroundings.
There you go. That's a good way to put that. Reading the room. And I think that goes for like the kids as well. When you could kind of feel it spiraling out of control, like the kids are just riled up and you can just feel it, like the tension, and either somebody's going to end up crying or hurt or like knowing when to shut it down. Like even if it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen. Like just knowing when to shut it down. But mainly with the mom thing, I had that as a good tool, and I don't know how to tell you how to get that tool if you don't have it, but try.
I think
try.
You get it as soon as you become a dad. Maybe you start when you become a husband.
Yeah.
But I think you become more attuned to it as you become a dad.
I don't know, man. I've been around some pretty, I don't want to say dumb, but I'll say dumb people that just can't they seem like they just, either they don't care like that it's spiraling, or they just like, I don't know. They just don't get it. They just have
Are you sure they're the father?
No sense. No. Absolutely not. But I've been around parents who just have no. Maybe that's it. But it's the kind of person that bothers me the most. The kind of person that can't read a room or feel a situation. I mean, go back to the grocery store episode. That's all that is going to the grocery store, is being able to read the room and feel it. Like that person drives me crazy. So maybe I'm like hyper tuned to that, but it drives me nuts when I see something, but I can't do anything because I'm not the parent of the kid, but I'm just like, hey, we're just going to let this happen.
Care?
Okay. We're going to all right, good. Here we go. We're all along for this ride. Like, okay, here we go. Yeah, that's a good one. Being able to.
I do have another one that is.
Yeah.
It's not even really that big of a thing. Like it's not even something that dads have that other people don't. But in the eyes of your kid, it makes you a giant, a superhero, and that is the piggyback rides and the shoulder rides.
Did 2 of them tonight. Absolutely.
What kid and dad doesn't love the shoulder rides? You're walking in the amusement park, you're walking in the park, you're anywhere, a hike, whatever, it doesn't matter. You take your kid and you put them up on your shoulders, and it's not really that big of a thing.
No.
Although, I mean, carrying a kid on your shoulders is like, it's, after a while it'll start to hurt.
It'll get you. Yeah.
In the eyes of your kid, you become a superhero as soon as they're up there. They're so high up in the air and they're riding on your shoulders, and it's like they're riding on top of the dinosaur. Like they're on top of the world. They can see everything. It's huge for them.
Yep. They don't like it when people don't like it when I do it at movie theaters. It really seems to piss people off. But yeah, if you go to Disney or Universal or just any amusement park and you put them up there, I mean, they're literally seeing, not to play on the song, but it is a whole new world. They went from staring at everybody's faces to now seeing the entire park. Like it's whoa, there's a whole world smell here. Like farts up here. This is great. This is what all the hype was about. Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say do the shoulder rides while you can, because they're way easier than the piggyback rides. I hate a piggyback ride, but a shoulder ride, you can keep your posture, like your back isn't as strained, but a piggyback ride, oh, dude, those suck. I do not like a piggyback ride at all, ever. They choke you, your back, it's just awful. But the shoulder ride for sure, just we have had a small mishap. Be aware, the house fans, they're there. And if your child is of a certain...
They are real.
Yep, they're real. They're not going to chop their head off, but they're also not going to feel great. He put his hands up and the blade was going in the way that hit the back of like his fingernails. Oof. Oh, that was fun. That was a good time. He's freaking out because he thought his fingers were just gone, you know? So I was like, ah.
No, look, like, you're fine, kid.
Dude.
Rub some dirt in it.
You're good. I've got one that, and this is another one I don't know how, this is more of a feel it out thing, but kind of knowing when to, and this is too broad, but like when to let go as far as like you teach them an activity or in whatever it is, like a sport or riding a bike or just anything, and they're kind of getting it, and you're just like, all right, I'm hands off. Like, I'm just going to let you figure it out at this point. And it's a really cool feeling as a dad when they like, when you kind of take your hands off and then they start, you know, if they're teaching them to ride a bike, literally excel even more. And you're like, yes, like that's a good one. And same for them. Like I remember being a little kid. I mean, the bike reference is perfect, but like, you know, when dad's finally like, all right, like I'm just running beside you. Like you're doing it. So that's a good one. Just kind of feeling out those situations and knowing when to like, all right, you're solo on this one. I have one last one, and this is not a big one. This is a rather obvious one. And this is for all you new dads out there. And I think this power is given to you when you become a father. It's kind of like the spider sense, but it's the father sense, where you are now just aware of every sharp edge and corner in your home. And if you shut your eyes, you can feel like the waves bouncing, like you know exactly where they're at. And if your kid's about to fall, you know what you need, if you need to grab them, if you need to push something, if you need, like, I don't know about you, but it felt like when I became a dad, like those things just became very apparent to me. You?
I wouldn't even say it's just sharp corners. It's everything. Yeah. Have you ever seen the videos of like the dads who are napping? They're literally asleep on the couch. And then they wake up and they stick their hand out and they catch their kid from falling off the couch. There's a sixth sense about everything. And
yes.
Yeah. I mean, yes. The sharp corners, the sticking your hand on the corner of the table right as they are standing up and you know they're about to hit it.
You can see it coming from a mile away.
Senses that they have, and sure, the sharp corners is part of it, but I think it's everything. They have this sense about. Yeah, I've bashed my head a few times on the corner of a table. I know you're about to do it because you're young and you haven't learned yet, aka you're stupid. So I'm going to put my hand here and protect you.
Gotta let them do it like once though, just to be like, see. That's what it feels like with.
Oh, they'll do it when you're not around, so you don't have to worry about letting them do it.
They'll absolutely will. But yeah, and I think that's something that comes with being a dad. That's like given when you become a dad and you get your tool bag, that's in there. It just is. Don't know how to explain it, but it is absolutely there. If you've got any other ones, certainly let us know if we missed any. I don't think I've got any. I think we got them all. But most importantly, this is the Friday before Father's Day. As we learned earlier, Father's Day is on a Sunday every single day of the year. Now you can remember. Not every single day of the year. Now you can remember. I can remember. You can remember with me. Mother's Day is also on a Sunday. But if you didn't know that, you've already forgot. Try again next year. But thank you so much to every father out there. We appreciate you. Do not forget to, if your fathers are still with you, to give them a big hug and thank them. And don't forget to thank us for making you a better father. More
Send
importantly,
us bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, we're out here doing the legwork for you. What you can do if you don't send us bourbon or US dollars, which, you know, it's okay. Every fan base has.
I'll take other currency.
Every
Just send
fan
enough
base
of it.
has, Bitcoin. I don't know how that's doing, but I'm sure it'll make its way back up. But if you don't have any of those things, the likes, the follows, the shares, those are all 100% free for now. So get in while you can on the basement floor. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, we're all there. We're on all those things. Spotify, leave a little 5-star review, iTunes podcast. We're all there. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you next week. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.